What is up, everybody? This is your host Yasin and you're watching The Passionate Realtor. In this video, we're going to have a quick look into Chinese economic boom in the last few decades and its heavy dependency in terms of real estate residential market and a potential collapse of one of their biggest developer, Evergrande. And people are comparing with 2008 financial crisis, and we're going to take a look in terms of whether this comparison is right or wrong and what does it mean to you and I as a common Canadian person. So let's dive in. So recently we have seen China has grown significantly in the last few decades, and they have done a tremendous job in terms of taking the billion people out of the poverty and has produced over 10% GDP growth consistently year over year. And much of that economic growth has come from residential real estate market, and that residential real estate market boom has two main reasons. Number one is the massive influx of people from the rural areas into the big cities, because the people wanted to have better jobs, better life, better education for their kids, and overall better lifestyle to live in the big cities of China. So we have seen a massive influx of people from those villages and rural areas into the cities, and that has contributed into the huge demand of housing in those cities. Hence, we have seen a massive growth of residential real estate market in China. To put things into perspective, if you look at this comparison between the amount of concrete that has been put into US across last 100 years has been outpaced by China in just 3 years. And this is not an anomaly because China has done it multiple times in the last 20 years. So one of the other reasons is in China, if you look at the investment options, you don't have a lot of investment options. Stock market is not that great, and the saving instruments are not yielding a lot of interest. And average Chinese is basically putting their cash into residential real estate market with the hopes and inspiration that this will continue to go up and producing positive return going forward. This has contributed into the development companies like Evergrande to over-leverage themselves, building huge complex of residential apartment buildings. Sometimes they are left empty just because people who are buying it are thinking about that this will continue to go up and then this will pay off their investment going forward. Because of that problem, the residential real estate market is slowing down in China. If you look at the Chinese population, they have a very strict one-child policy, and that has controlled their population growth significantly. So the people who left from rural areas into cities, they moved with their kids, and the kids have grown up now, and now there are not many people are left behind who are willing to move back into the cities to find better jobs, better career, lifestyle, and basically buying or renting more residential real estate properties. So this has slowed down that economic boom in the Chinese residential market. And of course, the companies like Evergrande are also being affected because of that market slowdown. But the problem with Evergrande is they have over-leveraged themselves. If you look at their financial profile, they have $300 billion debt on them. And in fact, they are the biggest residential real estate development company with that much debt across the globe. They are the biggest developer company in China. So you can see they're too big to fail. So they have enormous portfolio in terms of other businesses as well, but heavily depending upon the real estate residential business. Now, recently they come under spotlight because they are running out of cash. They have over-leveraged themselves. They missed their interest payment to their lenders in the month of June. They will likely to miss another payment of $85 billion this week and potentially coming to a default situation. Now, what are the likely outcomes? It could go bankrupt, so if they default on their debt, which has a massive impact on Chinese economy. Not only it will wipe out a lot of Chinese citizens savings, because they sell property years before they manufacture. So a lot of people who have purchased the property which have not been built yet, it will be completely wiped out. And not only that, it will have a massive job crisis as well, because Evergrande employs 200,000 people across China permanently, but they also hire millions of people to construct these property projects as well. So there will be a massive job loss impact as well in the Chinese market. If it becomes bankruptcy situation, then it will also have an impact of the banks and lending institutes that has provided lending to Evergrande. So if it starts hitting bank, then of course it will have a domino effect in terms of affecting other financial institutions across the globe, which may pose a risk of potential global financial crisis across the world, which is less likely because people are comparing this with 2008 financial crisis when Lehman Brothers were basically became bankrupt. The situation today is not like that because back in 2008 you have ninja mortgages, which means no job, no deposit, no financial or credit history, and you're buying 1, 2, 3, 4 properties. So at least situation is not that bad as it was in 2008, but it may have a potential to spread or bleeding into global financial institutes if this becomes a bigger financial problem affecting banks. But so far it doesn't look like that. So it's only the problem is likely to be contained within China. Now, Chinese government can also intervene and bail this out to protect the job losses, potential job losses, and losses to hundreds of millions of Chinese who have invested into Evergrande for the residential real estate projects. But China has a very strict rule in terms of not providing bailout loans to companies like this because Evergrande is a private enterprise, it's not a government entity. So China has a very strict policy in terms of not doing any bailouts, but in order to protect the economic downturn or job losses in the country, they may do that. So we'll have to see that. So what does it mean to you and I? Well, over leveraging yourself is not a good thing. So if you are over leveraging yourself, buying a lot of properties, taking a lot of debt, then it's not a good decision perhaps. So you should look into your investment portfolio and make sure you don't over leverage yourself. So only buying property where you can see it is producing positive cash flow for you so that you can manage your expenses if situation becomes difficult, because Canadian housing market or residential market is mainly dependent upon the immigration. As long as we keep getting people moving into this country buying properties, this process will continue to go. But as soon as the immigration slows down and less people are likely to buy houses available in the market, this also slow down the Canadian real estate market as well. So think about that. It will not always go up. At some point it may slow down, and you should be prepared for that as well. Now, what does it mean to you and I as average Canadian? Well, as I explained, over leveraging yourself is not a good thing. So when you over leverage yourself, you always put yourself into the risky position where if situation goes wrong, then you will likely to be bankrupt as well. So keep your finance in shape. Do not over leverage yourself. Always buy property which are producing positive cash flow so that you always keep getting money into your account, not taking money out of your account. So this is the investment strategy that I always follow and guide my clients as well. So if you need any help, give me a call. I will be more than happy to help you. Take care of yourself and your family. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and hit subscribe so that you don't miss any future videos. And I will see you in my next week video. Take care.